A lot of you guys know by now, we are in love with Panama. That's the whole reason why we're moving here. So we've talked up Panama so much, you guys know a lot of the reasons why we're moving here. But I think it's also very important that we talk about the not so good things. There's no such thing as a flawless place. So today, as we explore around Panama City, we're gonna fill you guys in on the juicy things that aren't so great about Panama.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is how the criminal system works here. So as it's been explained to us here, Panama is on a Napoleonic code law system.
So basically what that means is that you're guilty until proven innocent, which what we're so used to in the States is you're innocent until proven guilty.
One of the big warnings that we've gotten from other expats that have been living in Panama for a while is just to be careful who you associate yourself with and be careful who you do business with.
And who you piss off.
Yeah, because people can use this against you. We've heard a lot of rumors and we've heard a lot of stories and nothing is all that concrete. And that's going to lead us into our second point.
So the second thing that we don't like about living in Panama is that the rules and the laws are always changing.
So you guys know, if you've been watching our videos, that we've had a lot of problems. We've had a good amount of issues since we decided to move to Panama. And the funny thing is, we've also gotten a lot of advice and had a lot of guidance. And I don't think any amount of advice or guidance is gonna make the transition of moving to Panama totally seamless. And we've learned a lot of that firsthand because we've had a lot of problems. And when we've told people about these problems, a lot of people are like, I had no idea that that was a thing. I had no idea that that was how it worked. And these are people who've been here for 10 or 15 years.
Right. So to give you guys an example, when we initially decided that we wanted to move to Panama, we were gonna bring our bus up to our property, completely take it off the road, never drive it again, so we wouldn't have to pay the $2,000 in import fees. So we consulted with our attorney, and at first he said, that's no problem. You can easily do that. I've known many Americans that have done that before, no problem. But he decided to look into it a little bit more to double check for us. And come to find out, the law just recently changed and that's not possible. So we have to import our bus.
So the other thing that's really hard is we're trying to follow all the rules. I'm driving up on the curb.
You got it, you got it. Oh yeah.
We're trying to follow all the rules, we're trying to follow all the laws, and we're trying to do our best to do that. There's no real resource where you can find all these laws and you can find all these rules and you can find out how all this stuff works. You'd think it'd be listed on the internet somewhere, but we really had to resort to word of mouth from other Americans or other gringos, and we've also had to resort to forums and stuff on the internet, and that's not a great resource. We want like a government website. So what we're learning is the best way to go is to have an attorney, which we've gotten, that we can bounce all these things off of and all these questions off of. And then the attorney does the research and has a lot of knowledge on what the laws are.
With that being said, I think we have faced a lot more challenges than the typical person or the typical family moving to Panama. And the reason being is because we drove with our vehicle from Costa Rica into Panama. So we have our vehicle that we have to import. There's a lot more opportunity for things to go wrong and steps that can kind of get lost in translation during the whole process of moving. So most people, when they come to Panama, when they move to Panama, they're flying in. So in that way, there are a lot more resources and a lot more people to help you when you're doing it that way.
So the next thing that we don't like about living in Panama is that when anything important is being done, like you're crossing the border or any important paperwork is being filled out, you have to be meticulous in making sure that's done correctly. So we have two good examples for this. Number one, you guys might remember, is Kaylee's passport. So when we hopped the border, they never stamped Kaylee's passport, and then they allowed her to enter the country. And that resulted in a $1,000 fine for us. Kaylee got deported.
We took the hit, unfortunately.
Yeah, Kaylee got deported back to Costa Rica. I had to do the process over again. And it's because we weren't on top of making sure everything was done correctly. Because we've never had to be that meticulous to all the details that a stamp was that important.
So the second example is when we went to customs to go renew our vehicle permit to be able to drive in Panama. And when we had gone, the woman said that we had no more days left. We couldn't renew our 30-day permit, which at that point we called our attorney because we figured something was wrong. So our attorney ended up calling the customs, and he in fact knew that we had another 30 days, and he was able to make it happen.
So it's just, you can't take everything almost at face value. You have to know what the rules are and what the laws are. And we knew we had another 30 days. We called the attorney and he was able to talk to customs and make sure that we were able to drive longer, which was so important to us because our vehicle, as you guys know, is our home. We're just waiting for the ship over here, right over there in the distance. That thing is huge. We're just waiting for that to make its way through the canal. And before we tell you about the fourth thing that we don't like about living in Panama, which is, it revolves around cannabis. Before we get to that, we first need to tell you about the sponsor of this video. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. And if you guys don't know what Surfshark is, it's a VPN. Using a VPN is so important. If you're doing anything important on your phone or on your laptop, from banking to any of your login credentials to email to anything important, if that information is on your phone or laptop and you're connecting to public unsecure Wi-Fi's like Starbucks, McDonald's, almost any restaurant, it's very important that you use a VPN, and we really recommend Surfshark. If you aren't using a VPN, you're going to be broadcasting all of your information to anyone on that Wi-Fi network. But what a VPN does is it basically creates a middleman that no one can see that information. It protects all that information from being displayed and from being sent out to the Wi-Fi network. While I'm talking about it, I'll put a little graphic right here that better explains how VPNs work. But just so you know, we use Surfshark on our phone. You can see it right there. That's the Surfshark app, and I just keep it on my phone all the time. It's just always running in the background. And the best part is Surfshark is offering our viewers 83% off and 3 extra months for free. All you have to do is enter in promo code Nomadic. There's a link in the description that will bring you right to the Surfshark website.
So now to talk about the juicy topic of CBD. So many of you guys know I am a huge advocate for CBD. I use it pretty much every single day to help me with anxiety and depression. And it kind of sucks because there is a very gray area when it comes to CBD products and the legalization of using the CBD products here in Panama. So the products that I usually get is a US company, and it is technically illegal for me to order it and get it shipped to me here in Panama.
And then in terms of marijuana, for those of you that are interested, it is 100% illegal here. It's considered as in the United States, we'd say a class 1 substance. So if you're caught with marijuana, you go to jail. Which for us is a big difference because in our state, in Massachusetts, it's legal. In California, it's legal. In Washington, it's legal. In Oregon, it's legal. And there's so many places in the United States where it's legal now, or at least decriminalized. I think the vast majority of the United States, it's decriminalized, so you won't go to jail. For here, you go right to prison. Should we run for it? Roll! You think so? Yeah. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Ah! No! Oh no! Ah! Ah! Oh, the camera is so good.
We got so wet! That we're really not crazy about with living in Panama is the Gringo Prices. So pretty much anywhere you go in Central America, there's gonna be the regular local price, and then there's gonna be the Gringo price, which is obviously a lot more expensive.
And this really is true when there's no price labeled. So when you go to a thing like a farmer's market, or maybe you go in a taxi, you know that you're getting a Gringo price, or we know by now. So we're always trying to haggle with these guys. and they will always drop their price way down.
Right.
There was actually a time when we were in a taxi, and you remember?
Yeah, and there were like 3 other people in there with us, and I'm pretty sure we're all locals because they all only had to pay like $1.
It was $1. They all gave him a $1.
They all gave him $1 for the ride, and the guy asked us for $5.
And we said no. We said everyone else was $1, and we gave him $1.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works here. Is
they want to take advantage of it, which in certain cases I really don't blame them. I understand, I get it, but at the same time, it kind of feels like dirty being taken advantage, you know?
It's just like the principle of it too. It's like these things still are really cheap. Like $5 for a taxi ride is still really inexpensive compared to the United States.
Exactly.
But it just feels like you're getting a little taken advantage of.
So reason number 6 is that there are creatures here that could kill you.
Like this cat.
Or just hurt you pretty badly. So for example, there are some pretty gnarly snakes, there's scorpions, and what is the other thing? The toads?
The cane toads.
The cane toads, which actually, I don't know if they can hurt people, but they could kill your dog, which is pretty terrifying.
So what the cane toads have is they have poisonous sacs on their back, and if your dog goes and bites them, it breaks the sac, and I guess it takes them out in like 15 minutes, which is just terrifying. That's probably our biggest fear, is the cane toads. I don't like scorpions. I really don't want to get stung by a scorpion. And the snakes, I'm not that worried about. They exist for sure, the fer-de-lance and the viper.
But it's pretty rare that you hear of anybody getting bit by a snake. Unless you're like in the forest, deep in the forest, not really being responsible, that's when shiz is gonna happen.
But the cane toads are everywhere. So I'm just coming out to our little patio, a little terrace on our Airbnb. Look how beautiful this is behind me. Look at that.
Oh, it's so nice.
Guess what? This cost $60 for a night. It's beautiful. Let me show you a quick peek inside. Look at this.
And it's dog friendly, just for the bow.
And it's 2 bedrooms. Crazy. So the last thing that we don't like about Panama is that there's no recycling.
So all in all, as much as this video was all about the things that we don't like about Panama and the things we don't like about living in Panama, we're moving to Panama for a reason.
The pros way outweigh the cons.
Like, drastically.
And so many times while we were filming this, I was like, man, we are being such negative Nancy. But that's kind of like what's like the point. It's like these are the things that we don't necessarily like or that we wish were different, but that's just like with any country. It's like, I'm sure the place that you're living, it's like you don't like the mosquitoes or you don't like the weather or you don't like your neighbors or whatever.
There's no such thing, like I said earlier, there's no such thing as a 100% perfect, flawless place. So this video, we just wanted to touch on the things that you know, are realistic and are something that we're dealing with that really aren't, we don't love, they're not that big of a deal, but it's just the learning process and, you know, all that good stuff.
So this is where we're gonna let you guys go. Super shout out to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Thank you so much. You're what allows us to do what we do, to buy our land, to live out this dream.
The next time you see us, we're not really gonna be
doing this.
Us.
Kaylee's going back home. So see you guys next time.
See you next time.